When looking for the king of podcasts, you're at the wrong channel.
Well, excuse me!
Looking for good ideas for life? You're far from good hands.
Hey, bud, what's your problem?
If you think the listener is always right, you're far from the right place.
Out of order! Even in the future, nothing works!
Hosted by a Northeasterner by birth, but a rebel by choice.
Are you threatening me?
If you want a host that floats between love and madness,
and we know the night is always gonna be here anyway. Thinking of you's working up my appetite. Looking forward to a little afternoon delight.
then play on and listen to Crazy Train Radio.
All right, guys, listen to this blues riff and B. Watch me for the changes and try and keep up, okay?
Within the gaming world, there are your general gamers, but then there are those that enjoy the dark underbelly of gaming. If you're one of those that enjoy the dark underbelly of gaming, we certainly got the place to send you. Scorpion Lair Games. That's right, Scorpion Lair Games is the creators of the true crime hit Killers, the card game. Let's not forget they also have Killers Clothing Company, their profiler game, and things like the 5-Minute Murder channel on YouTube. And we certainly can't forget the new book that is certainly a hit, Beyond the Headliners, True Crimes, Myths, and Legends. Make sure you visit Jeff and the Scorpion Lair Games on Facebook and everywhere today.
My name is Wayne Charles Baker, Guy Eustace, and you're listening to Crazy Train Radio. Adios.
Hey folks, it's your least favorite host in the podcast world, Croc, Jonathan Steele. And boy, do we have a good one for you today. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this next guest has built a distinguished career since the early 2000s in both film and television, bringing depth, strength, and a cultural renaissance every role he takes on. Our fan base would probably know him best currently from his 3 episodes of Stephen King's It, Welcome to Derry, which is on HBO Max. But let's go ahead and say hello to Mr. Wayne Charles Baker. Wayne, how are you this morning? Yeah, one of those mornings, sir.
Good old English name.
Yes. Go figure. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Very good. It's kind of cold out here where I'm at right now.
Whereabouts are you?
Just on the border of Quebec and New York State.
Oh yeah, and we're expecting snow to hit, the Northeast and all that, because I'm in Philadelphia. So.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Right on.
So we got that storm that they whether people don't know whether they're shitting or winding their watch, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. So,
Yeah, that's good.
I, yeah, I'd love to have a job at six figures and not be right all the time, but that's a whole nother conversation, like I said.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
well, according to this interweb thing, you've been a busy, busy boy lately. But let's go ahead and start with Welcome to Derry. You did 3 episodes, so
Yeah.
what attracted you to this series? But how was it brought to you for the role you did?
Okay, well, I'll start by that I am a Stephen King fan. And the first book I ever read, 1986, was It. So
Hmm.
when I was flying to Thailand in '86, because we never had phones or anything back then, I thought, I need a book. I'm going for a month for this holiday. I saw that book and it was so thick. I looked at it and I said, yeah, this should work because it was over 1,000 pages. So I read the book
Nice.
and I couldn't put it down. And I was so amazed in how the writing was. I was hooked after that. So I knew what it was and all about. So when I got the call to audition for Welcome to Derry, I can't remember. No, it was called Fairview. So it had a code name. It wasn't even Welcome to Derry. And I was reading it and I'm going, oh my God, I know what this is. I know what it is. Because I was reading, because it had the reference to Derry and the creature when I was reading my lines. So I thought about it. I said, "Oh my God, this is it, the series." So I said, "I need this role." So I went and did my audition, and I got it.
And you for those who haven't seen it yet, which why haven't you? I'll put it that way. You play Chief John in all 3 episodes. So
Yeah,
obviously, I would think a lot of people have seen the miniseries with Tim Curry, then the 2 films that came out in the later 2000s. I think it was 19 and 21, something like that. And what do you think, from being a fan of the book, obviously, and being through it, what do you think makes this series different compared to what people may have seen already?
well, I would just say just how it was put together. It's accuracy and time and the 1960s, the the introduction of the native theme to it and the storyline. That's what I liked most because it brought realism to the show, and I just like the way it was put together. They because you never know until you watch it, right? So
Mhm.
when I watched it in the first episode, I went, "Wow!" Second episode, "Wow!" Third, and I just kept going on and on and on. So I think the audience felt the same and said, "Geez, this is a very good series. I can't wait for season 2."
Absolutely. And I have somebody sitting in the wings who's a diehard Stephen King guy, and he actually just said that to me as he was logging in about not being able to wait till season 2. Bob, if you want to jump in on this part, feel free.
I thank you so much for being with us. I, I'm a big fan, and I can't wait to see more of you in season 2.
Oh, I hope I'm in season 2.
I hope so.
Yeah, because
But I
I was
love I
thinking
love
about it.
I love the deep dive they've done into Derry,
Yes, I can't even wait. Season 2 and 3. Oh
and
my
I
God.
and I love that they've made the natives the keepers.
Yeah. Well, it makes
That
sense.
it does. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Um, and I have to tell you, kudos to Canyonland. That was a fun one.
Oh, Canyonlands.
Yes,
Oh
that was
yeah.
fun. And
I,
I tell you, you had such an amazing presence before you ever spoke a word.
oh, thank you.
Bravo.
I just did another one with him called The Sound.
Oh, I'll have to
Just
look
came
for
out,
that.
just came out this year, and it's a mountain climbing horror. But it's that one's even that one's even better, I thought. But he brought me in as a character, as my own character, my native name, my clan, Raven clan, and my chieftainship and all that stuff. He wrote that into his script.
That's
So I thought it
awesome.
was cool. Yeah, because my native name is Gaiustes, so they called me Chief Gaiustes in the movie, and I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. I like him. He's a good guy. But I just finished a film called The Capitaine up here in Montreal. That'll come out soon, so watch for that. That's really good.
I will, definitely.
You know, that brings up a good point. What Rob said, and you just said, Wayne, that bringing about culture and stuff like that. And I actually, ain't a paid sponsor, but I actually just started diving into this book talking about the Seminole Wars in the 1800s, because
Yes.
I'm a big down in Florida before it was Florida. But, it's just interesting for me that they're more and more incorporating other cultures and everything else, whether it be Welcome to Derry or the It movies or everything else that you've done lately. So, do you find yourself feeling like a what would the word be? Almost like a steward, not just for your own culture, but for others? Because I know you grew up in Western Canada, and
Hmm.
if I remember this correctly from my readings, there's something like over 200 different dialects just in
Yes.
that region alone.
Yes.
So, do you feel like you're like a steward to try to keep some cultures or as many as you can out there for people to learn about?
Yes, it's I feel that way now because they're really paying attention to it, making things right in the movie, the culture and stuff. So they're doing their homework, and some movies are a little less because they don't have a big huge budget. But if the other ones have a budget, they'll give you time to, like me myself on the Capitan. I just finished filming, or just finished at the premiere. I had to learn a language, Northern Quebec, and they gave me tons of time to learn it, Zoom lessons over and over. So by the time I got to the set, I finally, because you're overwhelmed at first when you first see the language, and I go, oh my God, how am I going to learn all this? But I did it, and the result was really good. I took my time. We finally got it down, and you talk about the different dialects in BC alone. There is 200. So like my mom was from northern Vancouver Island, and her language was the Quagiyuth language. They call it the Quaquala. And my father is from Vancouver, where I grew up, is the Scohopmish language, Coast Salish. So their two languages weren't even close. So yeah, you're right. There's the 200 dialects. But yeah, I feel that me, you asking me if I was kind of a steward. I kind of when I get the film now, I kind of correct them a lot on lots of stuff. And I was filming in I don't know if you saw it, the Swarm
Yeah.
in Italy. So I did some episodes on that, and it was a really international cast to it. Like there was Swedish, Spanish, and there was so many different languages to all these people because all these things were happening across the world, and marine life was starting to kill humans. Then my scene where I was in Vancouver, my scenes were in Vancouver, and the whales were killing. But I said to them, I said, well, I got to bring my language to this, even though they had a language. And I said, well, I mean, the characters. So I said to them, I just said, well, I'm just going to do my own language, and I did a couple of lines. If you ever watch it, you'll see couple scenes I did my own language in there. They left it in there. They liked it.
That's pretty awesome. Well, it's been mentioned, Capitine, which is a feature film. It was just released in Canada on the 16th of this month, January 16th to 26th. Yeah, like you just said, it's been, you had the premiere, all that fun stuff. And this is actually an interesting story because your character, I should say, was a former gunner in the Canadian Navy and became an offshore fisherman. And you were hoping that your daughter would take over the family business, but
Yes.
things maybe go awry. She goes a different direction. So, what can we say about the story of this movie?
Well, this is a typical father-daughter relationship. Well, typical, but kind of the love between both of them, and the father, his love for his daughter. And then he, like you said, hopes that she will take over his family business, but she kind of like goes in a different direction and falls for the captain's deckhand, who is not a very nice guy, and he's involved in the drugs in the community. So she ends up with him in the bad part of the community, and he kind of spirals out of control after she leaves. And like he's hurt, he's upset, he's turns into alcoholism, and his character has been in the residential schools, so he has a lot of flashbacks of the residential schools and his career in the Navy. So and it's about 2 years after his daughter has been missing, he gets a letter from her, said, "Papa, I'm here, come and help." And so he snaps out of it, snaps to attention, puts on his Navy gear, hat, coat, and now he's on a mission to go find his daughter. And what happened was his deckhand sells her into prostitution to pay a debt. So I got to go I go to Montreal on a mission to go find her, and then I eventually find her. But it's it's kind of a sad scene and sad episode. A sad scene, but I had a lot of people crying at the theater.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're very emotional.
Yeah, rightfully so. And why wouldn't that tug at the heartstrings? From a father-child perspective,
Even though I
But
have only stepdaughters, Ma, I have 5 sons. But my stepdaughter one of them that I get along with, I get her into acting now too. So we do a lot of things together. So she's, even though she's my stepdaughter, she's my daughter. And we
yeah,
have that relationship, and I'll do everything for her to help her to achieve what she wants. I helped her get on Welcome to Derry. She's in one of the episodes.
nice.
Yeah.
And the funny part is, or I shouldn't say funny, I always use that term, but it's more ironic because from what I was reading and watching, and I try to do deep dives, you were playing lacrosse until your 40s, which
Yeah.
lacrosse is such a tough sport. But somewhere along the way, you saw some, I don't know if it was a TV show or a movie or something. I can do that. Start going to acting classes. And 6 months later, you had an agent and you're getting jobs and stuff. So, can you talk about that a little bit?
I like how you brought that up because I was thinking about that the other day. And I was, because I was playing lacrosse and my career was winding down. And I mean, I loved the game because I grew up playing it when I think 11 years old. I played every summer from that 11 to in my 40s, and won 4 Canadian championships, which I'm very proud of. I wear a couple of my rings now. And I was thinking to myself, because lacrosse, the sport is like you have this adrenaline rush, you have this excitement before you play a big game, and that was going to disappear. And then I was watching TV one day, north of 60, actually, a show up here in Canada. And I was looking at it and I said, geez, I could do that. So I thought to myself, how do I go about it? So I said, well, I better take some acting lessons and see if I can. So I started taking acting lessons in Vancouver. And then I thought to myself, yeah, I like this. And I always thought to myself, well, yeah, I'm not too bad actually, because I was comparing myself to the other actors. And finally, I got an agent, and a year later, I was on that show, North of 60, my first gig, and that's when I fell in love with acting because I compared it to the same feeling as my analogy is playing the sport and acting. You get that nervousness, excitement. You're sitting in the dressing room, in the acting dressing room, lacrosse dressing room, and then you're getting ready to play. You get out on the floor, the whistle blows, and then your adrenaline rush stops. So now you're in the game. And then acting, I found, was the same way. You're in the dressing room getting ready to go to set, and you're getting excited. You get down to set, and there's all the other co-stars and stars, and they're the players, and then there's the coach, the director. So that's why I fell in love with acting, because it was the same kind of feeling.
Now, there was obviously from a different conversation I heard, and Michael, appreciate you. He's become a buddy. Michael Wall from he's got his own deal. And you were telling Michael a story that your wife was the brains of the family per se, because you had a home, your own home, she had a place, etc. And she
Yeah,
said something along the lines of, hey, why don't we sell your place and you can come to my place, and that way you could focus on the acting, because you by trade, I heard, have been a professional fisherman, carpenter, so you've been a man of many skills. But she
yeah,
said she had the wise wisdom
the
and said,
wise
hey,
words.
yeah, and say, hey, why don't we just go to one house and then you can focus on the acting.
Exactly. She said to me, this was 2016. We're living in Vancouver. She came out, left here from her house where I'm living now in Quebec, and moved out to live with me for Vancouver for 7 years. I think it was 7 years. And finally, she just said, why do you just sell this house and stop being enslaved to your mortgage? And then we can move to my house, and then you can concentrate on your acting career. And I thought about it, and I thought about it, and she said you weren't getting any younger. But I said to myself, I said, yeah, why am I just working for the damn mortgage and everything? And she had a house out here there was no mortgage on it or anything. It was just a small loan. So I said, yeah, okay. It didn't take me very long to think about it. So we put the house up for market. But the thing was that it was true, because I had a hard time when I was in construction, because I used to work in camps too, like work construction as a carpenter. So I'd go to camps, and then I'd get an audition, and I'd be doing it with my camp buddies in a little room somewhere. That they didn't know anything about it, so the audition probably wasn't so good. And then sometimes when I was working, I would have to lie to my boss and tell him I had to go somewhere for a funeral or something. And here I was flying to New York to do an audition for what the heck was that? Woman Walks Ahead, and stuff like that. So I couldn't keep up the storyline like that. So yeah, I decided, yeah, that's a good idea. I'll just concentrate on my acting. And then I got out here, and it worked. I started getting roles all over the place, left and right.
So obviously, we were talking about the dialects earlier, and I know you have spoken Mohawk and Shalish, excuse me, and Squamish, and excuse me for the mispronunciation. But with all the different dialects you have learned over the years, what do you think is the most or was the most difficult to learn? And do you find yourself still using these other dialects you've learned over time?
Um, I would say the one I probably I got to mention this movie too. That I just finished filming. I might be going to the film festival, the last one in Tombstone. It's a Western I did.
Okay.
It's called The War Between, and I think it's streaming now on Apple and a couple other stuff. But we shot that in Arizona.
Hmm.
So they called me 2 days ago, the director, and asked me if I wanted to come down there, and I said sure, I'll think about it. So I told him I better hurry up and book my ticket because prices are going up.
Yep.
So he's probably going to get back to me today. But anyways, that I played in an Apache. So I would say that language probably was the hardest to learn, and I didn't have much time with it either. So that was the other problem. But I had about maybe a week, and I had to do a whole scene, and I said I can't do the whole scene. I could only do half of it because I can only concentrate on half of the dialect. I can't do the rest. So that's what we did. We shot half of it, and I did the other half in English. So yeah, Apache would probably be the hardest.
Now, with all that we've said that's been said so far, have you heard from, say, different people from different nations and said, hey, thank you for trying to represent us or trying to, you know, words of encouragement to say, hey, we appreciate you trying to bring these different parts of the culture to whatever you're doing, whether it's film, TV, etc.
Uh, Here and there, but the most probably is up what I did for the Capitan. I had some praise for that because they really liked how I concentrated on it and well, making it real. And the lady that would taught the language and helped us, she didn't even speak English. She only spoke French and their language.
Hmm.
So after a lot of the shoots, she would look at me and smile and go thumbs up. And I go, okay, thank you. That's all. That's what she did. She would smile and go thumbs up.
All right.
So, and I asked him too because there was a scene in the Capitan where I'm getting harassed by a fisheries officer, and I said to myself, I would just walk away from this guy. I would swear under my breath at him, like would we like how we go, oh, fuck you, yeah, fuck off, or something like that, and then walk away. So I said, "What's a swear word for in your language I can use?" And they go, let's think. And they go, "Michimendo kakshish." And they they kind of told me what it meant, but didn't really want to say. And I said,
they were
"Oh,
nervous about telling you what it was, right?
yeah," but it was something about the guy making fun of him. But so I said, "Michimendo kakshish." Okay, I can memorize that really easy because I like memorizing swear words.
Don't we all?
Yeah. So we shot the scene, and a lot of the background that were around her were from that reserve area, that part of the country, and they were
Okay.
actually they knew the language. So when I said the language, when I said it, they didn't know I was going to say it. So I looked at him and I was like, because I was already half cut drunk, and I was at that stage where my daughter was already gone, and he was making fun of me. So I looked at him and Mr. Mendel, shish. And I turned around, and all those other guys that were around close to me started laughing. So they knew what it meant.
At least it wasn't cut and these guys are giving you like the we're gonna kill you look. So
Yeah. So they laughed, and so they got a kick out of it. So that it worked.
yeah, yeah. At least you got the response you got from the guys on the set. But
Yeah.
the other thing I was curious to know is you hosted a show called Closer to Home on APTN. And
Yes.
what can you tell me about the show? Because it seems like it's a very interesting show.
We did it for 3 years, 3 seasons, and it was a really eye opener for me and to see how other reserves, what kind of stuff they had, what kind of issues they had, and a lot of it had to do with water pollution and homes itself, mold, and how to fix remedy. Because I was a contractor, so I knew all that stuff. That's why they probably hired me too. Plus, I was an actor. And yeah, that was kind of my beginning of my career. That started in 2007 to 2010 was my last year. I traveled up to at the Arctic, way the heck up in polar bear country. We did an episode up there. I even had whale meat up there. And one time I looked at something and I said, "No, I'm not eating that." My producer ate it. He said, "I'll try it." And then I looked at him and I said, "Oh, how was it the next day?" I was sitting on the shitter all night.
Makes you
So
glad you
yeah,
didn't have it, huh?
yeah. So then we went to Miramichi, northern Quebec. I was all over the place, and then I finally came here, my last episode, and I ran into my Marlena, my wife now. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
And then because I knew her from before, and then it was like 14 years later, I ran into her here doing a series show, and then we kind of connected again, and then after I left, then we got back. Then we got together, and that's who I've been. We've been together now 15 years. But yeah, it was that kind of shows. And every time I went somewhere, I was always bringing my fishing rod or looking at rivers and streams. And I go, "I wish I had fish in there. I want to fish in there." And actually, a couple places I did. So I like to elaborate on that story. That producer that did the show reached out to me in April. He said, "Are you?" Because we always talked about doing a fishing show. And he said, "You still interested?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." He says, "Can you fly out here? We want to do a scissor reel." So I flew out there in April and shot a scissor reel with my two sons. And we caught trout. We went to our favorite spot. And we faked the camp and stuff. And it's supposed to be survival fishing and all of it. So that's still in the works. And I just reached out to him the other day to find out where we're at. And so that might be a series where we might be shooting a fishing survival show.
Well, with two questions there that hit me. What is your favorite type of fishing that you like to do? But also, you mentioned the whale meat there. How was I never had whale. How was that?
I didn't eat it. I looked at it and I said, "I don't want to try it."
Oh, okay.
But where was I? Oh, up in Capitan. We had some good food up there. They had a traditional meal for us: caribou, uh, crab, lobster. Oh, they had everything for us up there. But
Beautiful.
yeah,
Well, what type of fishing do you enjoy doing? Or you just anytime you
I
get
like sport fishing,
okay.
and I'll take some home to eat when I feel like it. I use mostly the West Coast style with float fishing with bait or non-bait, fake bait with a float and saying, you know how you fish the rivers? Because I like fishing rivers. I don't like fishing on boats too much because you just sit there. I like walking around in nature and being out there and seeing everything, the water. I like to see the ravens. I like to see the eagles. That's even the best part of it. That's how I liked it because I got my son into it and he's really into it now because it's more about being out in nature. I said to him, I said, "Get out of the house. This is really good for your soul." I said, "Get out there and camp and be out there and have fun with the fishing, but being involved in the nature because you can feel it when you're out there." and you feel it in your soul. It's just so refreshing to, get out there. Now he's into it now, so I'm glad he got it. And two of my sons out there now.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
funny
fly
that you
fishing
say
I
that.
do too. I fly fish too. I like fly fishing, and I used to do some net fishing when I was a little younger with a boat and net in the Squamish River. We used to set a net and catch our quota, and then go about doing what we would do with them.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny you say that about being in nature because I grew up in a family of deer hunters and things like that, and
Yeah,
turkey and all that stuff. And there's just, like you said, when walking the river, there's a certain piece about being in nature there, and it cleanses the soul. Even if you don't
yeah.
have a good day for the sport or what you're doing, there's just something about that being in nature. Before we put a bow on things, Bob, you said you wanted to have something there?
Oh, I just wanted to comment. I completely agree with you about the fishing, your preference of fishing. I'm in Texas,
Yeah.
and I live very close to Buchanan Dam, the
Uh,
actual dam, and I like to go out and fish at this one spot very close to where the eagles nest,
oh yeah,
and that makes my day when I get to see them.
wildlife and stuff. I even got an eagle call. I do that
Nice.
I do that to my wife when she's somewhere and she knows it's me. If she's
You get lost
walking
in the
around
storm.
the Walmart somewhere, I see her.
That's
She go,
perfect.
oh, there you are.
Yeah. uh,
But I do that for fun too on the river when I'm fishing and I see an animal. And I said, watch this. And I did my call, and there was this weasel walking across the rocks. As soon as I did it, he stopped and he looked around. He was all nervous. He kind of hid under a rock, so it worked. And another funny thing, I did that in Hawaii once, and there was a bunch of ducks on a pond, and I was golfing, and I did that, and they all took off. It's scary. So it works. I talked to ravens too.
Can I ask you one more question, please?
Sure, sure.
In script writing,
Yeah.
is it do you consider it more respectful to use an existing tribe and maybe get something wrong, or create a tribe and just in case? Does that make sense?
When I'm reading a script,
Well, does that make sense? What I'm saying. Would it be more respectful to make up the tribes just in case you get something wrong?
to make it nonfiction, yeah, you could do that because you don't want to upset people. You don't want to say, okay, this name is this where they're at, and then I always think about that. Well, then we just make them a nonfiction tribe, so nobody gets upset.
Okay.
no, I
Yeah.
appreciate that question.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a good one. I should have thought of that, Bob, but that's awesome. So, Wayne, as we put a bow on things here, it's obviously early 2026.
Yes.
So, what, and I said already, you've been a busy boy, these past few months with doing TV work and film, etc. What kind of goals do we have for the rest of the year? Are we booked for a lot? Where do you see 2026 going for you as we sit?
Oh, that's a hard question with everything happening in the political world,
Oh, yeah,
especially with going on in the States and all the
oh,
threats and it's I think it might have an effect on the film industry, but I think Canada will still carry on and do all their stuff. But I'm hoping gets better because I'm already here and it's really so quiet out there right now. And my agent's saying, "Oh man, it's so quiet, nothing's happening." So I'm hoping February is the time. I did an audition. I'm just waiting to hear back, but because they're starting to shoot in February. And then I got pinned last August for a show. The director Todd Fields.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he was doing a show up here in the Adirondacks, and they pinned me for it. And then I said, "Oh, good," because I heard about him, and he was a good director. And it got put on hold. So I'm waiting to hear back from that. I'm hoping okay, we're ready to go in March, April or something like that.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, Wayne, I appreciate the time. Make sure you check out the projects. I'll have links to everything for Welcome to Derry and the films we talked about here.
Yeah.
Wayne, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Hey folks, looking for the ultimate destination for the nerd enthusiasts and collectors? Well, we found the spot for you. Nerds Nest Collectibles is a haven for nerds, geeks, and fans alike, as they have many different products and certainly more to come. Make sure you go ahead and visit them at nerdsnestcollectibles.com. Check them out.
Hi, I'm Antonella Rose. Go listen to Crazy Train Radio.